Hello, this is a video to be looking at different key terms which are required by the AQA GCSE Computer Science, and specifically at section 3.1.15b. If this is the first time you've looked at one of the database videos, you might want to go back to the beginning, to the previous video, 3.1.15a, just to get a basic idea of what databases are and how they are used. So AQA say that students should be able to explain the following terms, which are record, field, table, query, primary key, relationship, index, and search criteria. And I hope by the end of this video you will be able to do that. So if we are looking on from the previous video, we've got here a table, okay? And just as a quick recap, we've got these ones in blue, which are just general fields, pieces of information. We've got records going across, so we've got different records here. So, for example, we've got Brie Bella, who's 31, who's female, who's from Sedona, whose finisher is the yes lock. And then we have got a table here, which we could call wrestlers. So I hope we're happy with all of this. So, what happens if we now add a different record at the bottom? Someone called Brie Bella, who's 31, who's also female, who's also from Sedona, who's also the yes lock. At the moment, if we want to change one of the Brie Bellas' age to 32, because it's their birthday, or they've changed their finisher, so we want to change that. At the moment, from the database's point of view, there'd be no way to differentiate between this Brie Bella and the other Brie Bella. So what we need to do is add an ID field over here. This is called a primary key. Primary keys are used to make each record you have unique. And most of the times, if we're going to add another record, the ID would be automatically set to 8. There will never be another ID 7 or another ID 5, so we'll be able to tell people apart. This is very, very, very useful. If you think about all the people you know in the world, at some point you will come across two people with either the same first name or even the same first name and surname, and you need to be able to differentiate between the two. So, for example, you might have two friends called Alex, but you might remember which Alex is which because one of them wears glasses. Unfortunately, a database hasn't got this capability to be able to recall and store information. Queries are able to select in particular pieces of information from a table, and this will be covered in much more depth. But for example, here we could select name and age from table, where hometown is equal to Miami. So we'd look from the hometown column, and we'd look for Miami, and we'd want name and age. But more about that in the future video. Relationships, we can see here we've added a further table on here, ID of title, which at the moment doesn't mean much to us. But now, if we add another table here, for example, this table could be called wrestlers. This could be called titles. We can see here that ID of title for Seth Rollins is WWE Championship. John Cena, ID of title, Intercontinental. Dean Ambrose, Tag Team. This is used to be able to take different pieces of information from different tables and use them at the same time. This is a very important concept which is used a hell of a lot to make sure that you don't have redundant data or data duplicated in different places. More about this in a future video. Indexes are used to be able to sort multiple records or multiple fields, and this is just a nice little bit of information here. That one record in this example is 204 bytes, so we've got 4 bytes for the ID, 50 for the name and hometown, and 100 for the finisher. And then we've got some other maths here which you can look at, and you can see that how much one block of information is. There are 5 records per block. Indexing is very, very important. Without it, the database has to look at things again and again independently of itself. And the more times it does it, the slower it's going to get. Finally, we're going to look at search criteria. And again, this is going to be covered rather briefly because it can be looked at a future video. So, for example, we have got here, age less than 29 would return what? So if we're looking at this column here, age less than 29, there is no one less than 29. If we have a look at age greater than or equal to 29, it will return all of them. Then gender equals male would return all of them except for record number 5. This is going to be covered in a future video in much more depth. I hope this has been helpful for you. Feel free to like, comment and subscribe, and feel free to leave any questions as well which you may need answering. Thank you very much.